Hey everybody. So, yesterday I posted a video of a little girl who was so enthralled to walk for the first time, I think. She had cerebral palsy. And, so for her to take a step was like this miraculous thing. And, it got me thinking. I think it's pretty common when you're an Ashtanga practitioner and you're looking at the practice and you're like, oh God, I'm only at first series and there's so much more to go. You have a tendency to look up the mountain and just want to consume the asana. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I feel like this is a norm that happens. You're really just wanting to, I guess, prove your worth somehow. Somehow the deeper your back bend or the more arm balances you can do somehow justifies your value or your worth, or maybe you're more spiritual or more enlightened or something like that if you can do these things. And I feel like especially Ashtangis were super guilty of this because I think we're probably the most physical of all of the different Hatha yoga systems. It's we really go to town on asana more than even Iyengar, or I guess most yoga systems are offshoots of Ashtanga, really. But yeah, we don't just do an arm balance. We do it with our leg behind our head. We really go to town on asana. But my point is that does that mean that you're more qualified or you're more special or you're more spiritual because you can do more advanced poses? It's really easy. I was that young girl who could do anything as soon as she got into the practice. It did not take me long to build up strength and to figure out the physics and, super contortionistically bendy. And I remember working with Mati. I stepped into her room and she became my teacher, and she really just burned this shit out of my ego and was like, I don't really care what you can physically do. It's not about that. And just pulled me back on a lot of levels. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I got that hard lesson early. Learning safety and, you never want to compromise your body for an injury that, keeps you from being able to use your body long term, And then it got me thinking about when I was at the Confluence, and I remember David Swenson kind of talking about, I'm totally going to butcher what he said, not meaning to, but basically he talked about the yoga and how even just one ekam inhale can be enough to be doing the yoga. And I thought about that little girl, and I thought how many people steer away from practicing yoga because they think, well, I'm not flexible and I'm not strong. And I don't know that we really help their case by showing off how strong and flexible we are. Because if I was born with cerebral palsy and all I could do was just try to figure out a way to use my legs, it'd be really, maybe inspiring to try to get on a yoga mat, but at the same time, it might be really disenchanting to see that I might not ever be able to make it there. And if I was born, paraplegic and from my waist down, it was completely numb, would I be any less of a yogi because I couldn't get on my mat and do sun salutations? We've made such a demand for the physical asana practice, and somehow it's become ingrained. The subtext of the text of Ashtanga is if you don't show up regularly, then fill in the blank. I don't even know what's on the other side of that except a lot of a lot of shame and guilt. And it's just not healthy. And I find myself kind of working a lot on that level with practitioners when we really dive deep into their practice to figure out what's motivating all of this. Who are you trying to prove this to, and what are you trying to prove, and what is it all about? And of course it's this need, this need to fill a void that is never going to be filled no matter how much you contort yourself. I'm sorry. And I think about the people who they're paraplegic or they're quadriplegic or they have cerebral palsy or they have other conditions that inhibit their physical mobility. And I think what their yoga practice looks like and how acute it really is on the mindfulness level, because they don't have the privilege to distract with the physical body. I mean, as much as we can use the physical body as a tool for awareness, we can use it as a distraction if we're not careful too. But if I couldn't use my limbs and all I had was just my brain awareness, what would my practice look like? And would it not count? Would I not be a practitioner because I couldn't, do a sun salutation? Like, you're not more special or more worthy because you can take your legs so deep behind your head. I had a student ask me the other day, if I became more spiritual when I finished fourth series, and I said, absolutely not. I mean, the most that happened when I finished fourth series was it changed a little bit of the structure of my anatomy, because it worked on such a deep level that it literally changed how certain muscles wrapped around my femurs, for example. And it did. I physically felt those changes going through it, but it didn't make me more spiritual. I mean, if you want to know the truth, I think anyone who gets to fourth and finishes it is really just nothing more than a bored overachiever. They don't have other commitments to get in their way. They're not married. They don't have kids. They got nothing in their path, so they just keep consuming more. And I am absolutely one of those people that had the privilege and the curse of having that experience. So I challenge you all to think about that, to think about why you're practicing, what it's about, and, are you being hard on yourself or other people for not being able to meet physical demands in the practice? Does it make you less of a practitioner when you can't stick your leg behind your head? Where does your mind go? Where does your emotional response go? And I'm going to tell you right now that wherever your brain goes and the thought process there, that's the yoga, and that's the part you need to work on. Not going deeper into the hip. That the hip being tight is simply a reflection of your own restrictions, and you being okay with them or not is a reflection of your own inability to be okay with it. So the next time you want to judge someone, including yourself, for not being further along or for having to use a prop or whatever, try to think about the little girl with cerebral palsy who's just so excited to finally use her legs, or think about someone who is paraplegic or quadriplegic and how limited they are. And it might change your perspective on what's really at the heart of the practice and what's really the goal and what's motivating you to get on the mat each day. I hope that was helpful, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.